You actually talked about that in next episode.
Let me start that just section.
Yeah.
Just going to do that. So Yay, you're here. Welcome to How to Be a Grown-Up with CK and GK. Let's get started. Yeah. Sleepy. Okay. Hi, friends. We are super glad you're here. Hopefully you have more energy than we do. It's okay if you don't. It's all right. But we'll try to bring it for you today. How about that? This is How to Be a Grown-Up. This is the how-to show for women who've texted SOS to their group chat this week or ever, anytime.
Every day.
Every day, all the time. I'm Caitlin, and with me today is Ariella Monty. She's a novelist and a neurospicy mom of a neurospicy child who also happens to be a Michelin-starred snack of wisdom and wit.
I love it.
Michelin-starred. I read a thing about Michelin, why it's a Michelin-starred restaurant, like why is a tire company involved, and it all has to do with promoting tires to travel to go to restaurants.
Oh, is that why?
Mm-hmm. It's all related to that. Isn't that weird? It's like when the highway and when the tires and everything, when it all first started, it was like, this is worth driving your tires on. Use Michelin tires to go to this place. Yeah. I'll find, it was an Instagram post that told us all about it. It was a really cool one. I was like fascinated. I'll find it. I think I saved it. Yeah, it was really interesting. Anyway, we should have talked about that on the food episode. Fail. All right. Today we're not talking about that. Today we're talking about parenting the ADHD child because the SOS, right? Like just because it's hard, because you need to hear all these things and you're not alone and all that stuff. But before we do that, are you subscribed to this show? Make sure you hit.
You should be.
Yeah, I know, right? By now, come on. You need to hit that follow or subscribe or whatever word your favorite podcast app uses to make sure that you don't miss episodes. So take a minute. Let's do that now. Great. Thank you. Well done. Very compliant, unlike the ADHD child. So let's get into it. I have a bunch of sources today, primarily from Attitude Mag, and a couple of Instagram creators that I really like. One of them is Dr. Steven Storage, and another one is Nurture ADHD. And these are all the posts that I used are linked in the blog post for the episode. I also would recommend The Explosive Child as a book by Dr. Ross Green. He wrote one of the articles in ADHD Mag that I used, or sorry, not ADHD Mag, Attitude Mag that I used for this episode. And I was looking at just the summary of it. I haven't read the whole thing. I've read, like a chapter 1 or something. And so far I'm interested and I would like to keep going, but could be worth looking at. So again, that's called The Explosive Child. And then we've been talking so much about ADHD that I decided to put together an ADHD playlist on Spotify. So that's also linked in the show notes for this episode. And you can grab that and listen to all the ADHD things, pass it along to people who need it, etc. So, all right. If you know how to fold a fitted sheet, then this analogy does not apply to you. But parenting a child with ADHD can be like trying to fold a fitted sheet if you don't know what you're doing, while also somehow managing to do it on a roller coaster. Like, so just imagine the utter chaos. Right, totally. There's probably a sock stuck somewhere. Right, you're both screaming. You have no idea how other people can make it look so easy and handle it all. So today we're talking about real strategies for raising an ADHD kiddo without losing your own freaking mind in the process. A couple of notes here. These are specific to children with ADHD. I am very aware that neurodivergent children come in all different spice levels and varieties, but we're talking about ADHD spice in particular because that's where we have the experience, and I don't want to make any assumptions about other spice children when I don't have experience with that. So you might see some of these characteristics in children with autism or other neurodivergent, children, I don't want to speak about that. So this is specific to ADHD and my experiences with my own child. And again, know that we are not therapists. We are not mental health professionals. We've done the research here because, again, it affects us personally and because we wanted to have something good for you for the show. But that does not make us professionals. We are just two women trying to do the best we can with what we got. So
this is very much a like, hey, I read an interesting article that you might find helpful.
This is like the Michelin star Instagram post of ADHD children.
Right.
It's like me just like pulling out things that I found fascinating, interesting, helpful for me, sharing them with you. Okay. So I want to start with this. You need to start by managing your parental expectations. Okay. I understand that many of us as millennials have boomer parents who had parents who were, the part of the greatest generation. There is a level of parenting, learning and unlearning that comes generationally, right? And so there was a time when immediate compliance was the expectation. Okay. But the things that ADHD people struggle with, like executive function challenges, sensory overload, emotional dysregulation, are all things that ADHD kids struggle with. And because they're children, it's worse. So that means that there are a few things that you just simply cannot expect an ADHD child to be good at right away. The first of these is compliance, in particular, immediate compliance. So if you have that expectation and your child has ADHD, get over it because it ain't happening. Like it's just so unreasonable. It's so unreasonable. Right. Why would you ever? Perfect execution of any sort of task. Unreasonable to expect that. Impulse control. Completely unreasonable. Staying organized. Some of us, my particular flavor of ADHD has a compulsion to organize, but then I make folders for my folders and I overcomplicate. So staying organized is very difficult for me, as it is for many ADHD children. Being on time. Why? Because time doesn't exist if you're not looking at it. So multitasking and or following multi-step directions, kind of unreasonable to ask of your ADHD child. And emotional regulation, specifically pertaining to frustration tolerance and or constructive, quote unquote, constructive criticism. Those are all things that it's pretty unreasonable for you to have an ADHD, for you to expect your ADHD child to be good at. Automatically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that said, there are a few behaviors that are especially challenging for me, and they are probably for you too. And so here's the list and how to, a couple of, I'm going to say these as quick fixes. They're not quick fixes. I'm just offering them to you as a tip you might want to try. So the first of them is the I asked you 47 times problem. Parents get frustrated because asking over and over again feels like defiance. It's not defiance, it's neurology. The reason it happens, the reason you have to ask 47 times is because ADHD kids struggle with working memory and task initiation. So you might try a couple of things that would help. One of them is being one request plus a visual cue. So you say, shoes on, and you point to shoes, right? Dishes away, and you're carrying your dishes to the sink. Something that shows them what you're supposed to be doing. Also, using timers with physical reminders, like put a timer next to the backpack. And a countdown timer that has some visual aspect to it where they can actually see the time disappearing could be very helpful for the asking 47 times. Mine is not just that I ask 47 times, it's that he also uses that time to think of all the things he has not yet done in the day and do those instead. So it's like, go take a bath. And it's like, Mom, do you want to go outside and play with Gracie? No, I want you to go take a bath. Dad, let's go hit baseballs. No, it's time to take a bath. Did you know that you could? And I'm like, bro, this is not the time. So that's why we end up asking 47 times. Speaking of that, transitioning from task to task, another challenge for many ADHD children. Once again, parents are frustrated because you're asking over and over and over again. And when you try to help with the transition, it often turns into an argument, at least at my house. I don't know. I'm asking for a friend. It turns out, here's what I learned. It turns out that transitioning from one task to another is way more complicated than we thought it was. Because of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Because a neurotypical person can do it, and it's so much more than that. So there are 3 types of transitions from task to task. One of them is physical, mental, the other is emotional. So those are 3. And a single transition might have all 3 of these included. Yay.
Yeah.
And there are 3 phases of a transition. So making the initial move away from the activity, navigating the path between the last activity and the future one, and then starting the new activity, right? So all 3 of those steps require, say it with me, executive function.
Executive
and what do we
function.
not have? We don't have
function.
executive function. Right. So,
yeah.
So the fixes here they sound easy and they're not. So just, again, I'm not trying to oversimplify. I'm just trying to offer quick tips. Establish routines. Okay. Always do this thing after that thing. And ADHD brains hate routines, but they do best with them. So it's just what you're going to have to do. Every time we come home, we always wash our hands. After we wash our hands, we always have a snack. Just keep it consistent as much as you can. Be sure to give visual and audio cues before and during transitions. Okay. In 5 minutes, we are done with screen time. Here's the timer. Here's the 5 minutes. It's counting down. The timer makes a noise. Hey, that was your 5 minutes. Now we're done with screen time. Now we're going to, and then whatever the next activity is. I also like using timers that include songs. So what I did this with my students a lot. It would be like, okay, you have 2 minutes to clean up your space, get your notebook, and be ready for our next activity. Our next activity is going to be XYZ. And then I would play a song that lasted the amount of time that they had. And then,
I like that.
And it would be like the same song, every day for a week, for a little while, for each class. And then I would move to another song. But then by the time I had gotten to a couple of weeks in, I could use 3 or 4 different songs, and they would know how much time each one of them had because they had heard it enough times to know what each one was. So that might be a good way to do that too.
I like timers that, like the okay to wake clocks and timers, the ones that have not only sound and light, those are extremely helpful. We use ours during the school year, and we haven't been because it's summer, but I'm realizing now that we are in camp, and camp has a very similar school schedule to it, but I haven't put on the lamp. I have trouble transitioning because all of a sudden, where I used to have something that said, hey, you've got 10 minutes before you have to leave. Now it's just oh crap, we're going to be late. Those visuals are so important. Yeah.
There's also one that I used to have for myself when I was teaching that was okay, if I wanted to have a lesson that was going to be no more than 20 minutes so that my kids could have XYZ amount of work time, it would be green during the, first 15 minutes and then turn yellow when I hit 5 minutes left. And then it would turn red in the last minute. So that was super good for me. And those exist so that it might be really good to see the actual time change in that way too, not just something that ticks it down. So, good one. The next one is the emotional tornado, which we've discussed in the past. But these are things parents get frustrated because the meltdowns that are happening seem to happen over quote unquote small things, right? Like the wrong color cup. When they're 2, the wrong color cup makes sense, right? Those are the why my kid is crying thing, because I wouldn't let my kid eat the mail, whatever it is. Which, of course we've seen. I wouldn't let my child, eat the dirty sock, whatever it is. That makes sense when they're 2, but when they're 9 and they're upset about the wrong color cup, it's a little bit crazier, right? So it happens because of that emotional dysregulation that ADHDers have, but also there's sensory sensitivities that go into that. And there could also be some RSD, that rejection sensitive dysphoria, coming in. So fixing this is not easy, right? But there are things you can do, like name it to tame it. You're not saying, wow, you're mad about that. You can say, wow, your brain is really mad about that cup. Let's find a solution to that, right? Or we've talked about naming your guilt and naming the ADHD gremlin that you have, Gladys, right? You can say, wow, Snoop is really upset about that right now. Like, I don't know what you're going to name it, but let's find a solution. You can also offer some sort of sensory reset. Maybe that's a crunchy snack or a cold washcloth, which you've brought up before. Maybe it's jumping jacks. Maybe it's something to get the wiggles out, whatever it is, but some sort of sensory vagus nerve stimulation, anything like that that might help calm that tornado would be a good thing to apply here.
It's the lizard brain. So
yes.
When the kids are, and even adults are emotionally dysregulated, just they are all fight or flight. And that logical side is just non-existent. I mean, kids already have an underdeveloped,
full prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, thank you. And then you throw in, emotional dysregulation, and they are just all lizard brain. So, they're basically a little Tyrannosaurus Rex. And so to get them back from a Tyrannosaurus Rex into, I don't know, a cuddly chicken, then I don't know. What was the first thing that came to mind?
I mean, chickens are descendants of dinosaurs. Sure, why not?
Listen.
Works for me.
There was a pheasant in my yard the other day, and I don't know how you can look at some of these birds and not be like, yes, that was a dinosaur at one time.
For real. It's so true.
But in any case,
yes.
So anything that can kind of like shock your kid out of that lizard brain is going to help, get out of the emotional tornado and like into whatever they need to be.
And it's so hard next. Too, because our default is to like try to reason with it. But I keep coming back to like, there have been some parents in my teaching career where they were legitimately borderline crazy. Like, and I don't mean like needed mental health, like there was some sort of concern. I mean, like this person is actually mad, like a hatter. Like this person is gone. Yeah. And I would just tell myself, okay, remember, you can't reason with crazy. You can't. Crazy doesn't respond to reason. So if you tell yourself, my child is crazy in this moment, you can't reason with crazy. What do you have to do to calm them down? Like that might be a good, I don't know. I'll do that with him. I'm like, okay, remember, can't reason with crazy. Do you want a snack? Are you hungry? And then that usually will turn into an argument. So let's talk about the next challenge, which is the incessant arguing. Ooh. It feels like defiance, right? It does. And the times that I've told myself, you are blatant. This is, what's the line from The Lion King? You deliberately disobeyed me. No, I didn't. You deliberately disobeyed. Yes, you did. Right. So it happens because, and this is according to the Instagram creator, Dr. Steven Storage, ADHD brains crave stimulation, and believe it or not, arguing boosts dopamine. This is why ADHDers love to have that shower argument that we always win, right? It gives kids a sense of control. It gives you a mental challenge and a hit of excitement that their brain finds rewarding. So it's not necessarily defiance. It's dopamine seeking behavior. So that means in order to fix it, you have to start by reframing your own mindset, Caitlin and other moms out there. Okay. Arguing is often a stressed or understimulated brain. It's not a disrespectful child. So the fix here is Give 2 choices that you can live with. It creates structure, boosts dopamine without the conflict, and helps build flexible thinking. What I mean is, do you want to use the red toothbrush or the blue toothbrush? Not, do you want to brush your teeth? Because that's not negotiable. What's negotiable is how they brush their teeth. Okay. Do you want to use your mouthwash first, which is what you're supposed to do, or brush your teeth first? Which one? It's not. And whatever the lesser of 2 evils is, you can include it in there. It doesn't matter. You just have to give them something that they can choose from. And it sounds like it's not going to work on an older kid, because I think we hear this piece of advice for toddlers all the time, right? It's like, which cup are you going to use, the red one or the blue one? And they get to choose. But it does work for older children as well. So keep that in mind. And you can let them help come up with the choices, right? As they get older, they can do that. Like, well, I don't want to use my mouthwash first or brush my teeth first. I want to scrape my tongue off first. Okay, great. Scrape your tongue off first and then brush your teeth, and do it whatever order you want. I don't care. Just do that. Offer them that. Yeah. The next challenge, as kids get older, is homework hell.
Yeah.
The reason parents get frustrated is because it feels like every other challenge combined into one, right? There's arguing, there's transitioning, there's the emotion, there's the redirecting 47 times. It's really hard to get through homework, especially for ADHD kids. And ADHD brains crave novelty, which a worksheet or a workbook is not. It's torture for a kid, right?
Yeah.
So the way to fix this, homework doesn't go away. That's the problem with this, is like, they have to understand that while there are lots of teachers who don't believe in homework, there are just as many who still do, and it's not going to go anywhere. And, when you are an adult, homework just becomes work you have to do to try to get paid for. So like, you just need to understand it's not going anywhere. So you have to try to make it fun for yourself. Maybe you turn a boring task into a silly challenge. Can you do your multiplication table flashcards while also bouncing on one foot? Can you do it 5 times and then hop on the other foot 5 times? And then we'll do 3 more flashcards, whatever it is. Try to turn it into something fun. Okay. You can break it up into manageable chunks. This is a good thing. Teachers understand this very well. You take 10 minutes of work, they get a 5-minute dance break. Or one of the things I like to do is I'll take a manila folder and I would cut it up into thirds so that the back side is still the same. Like the back side is still one piece, but the front side has like 3 different flaps on it. And I would hover. So like I would just close the first 2 and then uncover that top third of the page would be covered or uncovered. And then they could do that part. And then we take a break. And then they uncover the next part. They see that they've already done half of the work because the first, third is done of those 2/3. Okay, then take another part. And then when they open up the last third, wow, look, I've already done all of this. It's just this much more to go. I'll be fine. I can do it. So that's when I do it.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that one. It helps a lot. My one caveat here about breaks, especially for an ADHD parent, sometimes the break is a little longer than you anticipated because of time blindness. So either have a timer set for the break or take their lead on the break or do something that's a break in that it's not completing the homework right then, but it's similar, right? So it's not like you go from doing math facts to a total dance party or a dip in the pool. They need to kind of stay close to each other in relation so that you can get them back. Otherwise, you're faced with that transition challenge again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if a dance break works, great. But if it's too different for them to resettle, then maybe consider something a little closer to the assignment.
Yeah.
Maybe they get to color on the folder for 5 minutes or something. I don't know. But just something to think about. This next challenge is being called the forgetful professor syndrome. So like very smart child, more than likely a brilliant child, but who like drops everything and is kind of a hot mess because executive functioning skills aren't there. So this is lost permission slips, the occasional missing shoe, just the one shoe, not both. unfinished chores, stuff like that. So again, ADHD brains struggle with executive function, and these are all the things that require executive function to be done. So if we don't have dopamine, we can't hang on to permission slips. You can't remember to find the other shoe, whatever it is. The fix is externalizing memory. Do not rely on your brain or your child's brain to remember things. Now, my son has just enough anxiety that if I say, please remember to look in the lost and found for your sweatshirt, he probably will do it. But only because there's a piece of anxiety that's behind it. Otherwise, he wouldn't, you know what I mean? He wouldn't remember. But do whatever you can to externalize that memory. So maybe you have a launch pad of all the things that need to be done before school in the morning. Backpack, keys, shoes, spot by the door, whatever. Like I have my keys by the door. I have my purse by the door. Why wouldn't he also have his stuff by the door? Right?
Yeah, we have a drop zone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, all that's things. Where comes in, shoes come off, backpack goes in the kitchen. It's just the same routine every single time.
Yep.
Because if not, like somebody's forgetting to pull the homework out. Somebody's gonna forget the food in the lunchbox until the next day. That's me. Yeah. That's a me
I
problem.
Do that too.
But yeah.
Visual checklists are also helpful here. So like, don't just say, get your backpack ready. Take a picture of what a ready backpack looks like. Ready backpack has the lunchbox inside with the homework folder and the planner that the kids are filling out in school. Take a picture of that, open, and then another picture of it closed, put the two next to each other, and then say backpack ready. That's what that looks like. Showing them what ready means in addition to like having the instruction there. And they'll be able to start to put that together. Okay. The last main challenge I'm going to talk about, we have others, of course, but the last one is social speed bumps. This is frustrating for parents because kids interrupt. ADHD kids in particular are notorious for this. They miss social cues. Sometimes they do things that are like kind of cringy. They overshare, stuff like that. It happens because navigating social interactions requires various mental processes, not the least of which are related to executive function skills. All of them come back to executive function skills. And remember, ADHD kids lack executive function skills. So there's a few ways to work on this. One, share your internal dialogue to model POV thinking, right? Wow, that was so nice of Ariella to let Brenna use her umbrella. I bet Joey really saw how nice that was and appreciated it too, right? Like something that shows what it's like to experience something. You can role play scenarios, right? Like what if your friend's face looks funny that day because there's a booger hanging out of it? What would you do? Right? Would you point and laugh, or would you say, hey, you have a bat in the cave. Let's fix it. We talk about that with ours. It's like, if it takes less than 5 minutes to fix, then you should tell the person that they can fix it. But yeah. Teach social scripts like, can I play too? Instead of barging in. Right? Or, sorry to interrupt. What were you guys talking about? Something like that would be helpful. And I have to say this, extracurriculars for ADHD kids, they're a must. Like, it doesn't matter what the extracurricular is. They need to be hearing instructions from someone other than their parent, other than their teacher. And they also need to be in these spaces with other children where adults are not always hovering. Because the only way for them to get better at social skills is to practice social skills. So This is nothing against homeschooling. But this is why recess in school is so helpful for ADHD kids, not just because they get to play, but because teachers aren't hovering during that time. But they need more than just the 30 minutes of recess to practice that. So I would highly recommend, especially if your child is hyperactive, physically hyperactive, find a sport for them to play. Find some way for them to unleash creativity. I know Killian does pottery. Sam likes to play basketball. These are all things that are really good for these kids. You have to let them practice these social skills away from their parents.
Yeah. Especially when you consider COVID and the pandemic and like kids lost especially kids our age, because it happened during preschool where they learn a lot of those early socialization skills and everything went online. It makes all of that practice, that socialization practice, I think even more important, because we're almost like making up for what all of those kids missed. And it's not like they're a lost cause, of course.
No, of course not.
But I think that that's also something that we have to like keep in mind when we talk about modeling socialization and putting our kids in you know, why it's so important to do. It's like that extra layer of why this is important.
Agree. There are a few other frustrations I wanted to talk about. The primary one for me is punishments that don't work. ADHD kids are hard to punish because ADHD brains struggle to connect the behavior that's happening now with a consequence for the future. For example, your kid mouths off to you and you take away their screens for a week. Well, how does mouthing off to you in this moment result in no screens for an entire week? That doesn't seem fair to them, right? They don't. Kids in general have a very real sense of what's fair and what's not. And then when you add this time issue to kids, it becomes even harder. The other punishment that doesn't work, aside from taking away screens for days or weeks or whatever it is long lectures. And I always come back to the Bluey episode, and my son will come back to this episode too. But there's one where they're trying to teach Bingo how to do show and tell and how to talk. And her mom starts talking, and over time it starts to sound like the Charlie Brown wah, 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 wah. It's like, it takes like 3 minutes, not even. It's like 30 seconds and she's gone, right? She's not paying attention to it. Listen.
And then the last line is always something ridiculous, like solitary confinement. And you're like, what was Bingo saying? Sorry.
It's so good. It's the cutest stinking show. Okay. So long lectures don't work. They tune out after 15 seconds. What feels like a teachable moment for you is really just static Charlie Brown noise. So instead, use a short, immediate consequence that's tied to the behavior. For example, they mouth off, you want to take the screen away? Do it. Take the screen away right then. And then they don't get it for the rest of the day that day. You could give it back the next day. Right. As they get older, of course, you can go longer or whatever, but do it right then in that moment. It has to be immediate. The other thing you should do, oh, look, there's the thumbs up again. Sometimes my screen does thumbs up and I don't know why, but whatever. I can never re-trigger it, so it's fine. The other thing you can do is praise effort when you see it. Catch your ADHD kid being good. ADHD kids rarely hear their names in a positive tone. Say their name in a positive tone. And I don't just mean like sing-songy, like, Sam, thank you so much for... No, I mean like, hey, Sam, I saw you do this. That was amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. Or when you do that, it shows me that you can handle more independent tasks. Something like that lets them know you see what they're doing. That is a good thing. It's good for all kids. It's especially good for ADHD kids. They respond really well to praise. And they don't often hear their names said in a nice way. So another one to think about. Some other tips that work generally that I've found. One is create a yes space. Create a place in your house that is a chaos-friendly zone. They have a trampoline, they have a fidget bin, they have a climbing rope, they have a basketball hoop attached to the door, whatever it is, where all the feelings and all the activities are A-okay with you. You have one of these in your house, don't you? You talked about this. Or when Killian was little, you had something like this. Like a calm down corner or something like that.
Yeah, he had a calm down corner that we worked on. But basically just like his room was the place that he would go when, you know, he was just like really emotionally dysregulated. And as long as he didn't like do any kind of like real damage to anything. Like really everything was fine. Like he drew all over the walls in there, and we're just like, okay, like I bet that felt
WD-40.
great. So
yeah,
like I'm sure, like, do you feel better now that you were able to, do some drawing? Stuff like that. Like as long as he's not, I don't know.
As long as glass isn't breaking, it's probably fine.
Right. Like, yeah, as long as he's not breaking a window to like launch himself out of it on the second floor. Like basically, okay.
Yeah, something like that. Just call it the yes space. Name it. This is your space. Like do what you're going to, do what you need to do here. 2, bribery is ethical in your own household. Your child's not a politician, so do what you need to do to get them to do what you want, right? Reward effort over results. Hey, you focus for 10 minutes. Hey, you finished your homework without fighting with me more than 2 times. Sure, you can have an extra 10 minutes of screen time today. It's fine. The last tip I'm going to give you is just pick your battles. This is so hard for every parent. We've talked about this before. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, which is really hard for ADHDers because, again, argument is dopamine seeking. But is he going to wear pajamas to school? Fine, right? Because he's going to school. Who cares? Save the argument for what shoes he's going to wear, because if it's raining, he cannot wear his like fuzzy slippers. Don't stress over the little thing. Find the thing that actually matters and focus on that. Put your energy there. And there's a good chance they won't fight that one as much. And if they do decide when it's raining to wear their fuzzy slippers, put their other shoes in the backpack and be like, okay, Fayfo, like, go for it. Do your thing. I put other shoes in your backpack. Bye. And don't. Yeah. Because you have to preserve your own sanity too. So
this is, we do this with jackets during the school year because he hates wearing jackets. And I like to get out the door, and in the like 2 seconds it takes to get from the door to the car and then from the car to the door at school. Like if he wants to be cold, fine.
Be cold.
Be cold. It's fine. And I put his jacket in his backpack, so he's got it. But if he does not want to wear it on the way to school, like
be
whatever.
Cold.
Yeah, be cold.
It's fine. Yeah, don't care. So I'm going to wrap this up before we take a break. But look, parenting is really hard. If you have an ADHD child, your kid is not a bad kid. You're not a bad parent. Chances are, if you're listening to this show, you're actually a good parent. You're probably a mom who loves your child with your entire heart, and you're just doing your freaking best because it's really hard. Okay? You're not alone in this. Ariella and I feel your pain. We feel your struggles. We feel your pain. We feel all the good things too. So we get it. We'd love to hear your stories. So you can send us a DM, follow us on Instagram. That's the easiest place to get a hold of us, is Instagram or Threads at CK and GK podcast and at Ariella_Monty. Parenting an ADHD kid is not about fixing the kid. You can't do that. It's chemistry. You don't have that ability, right? It's about giving them and you the right tools to function. So next week, we're flipping the script a little bit. We're going to talk about what happens when you're the ADHD parent. And so make sure you're subscribed and tune in for that. We'll be right back. Hey, y'all. POV. You find a diary exposing forbidden magic, and the hot museum caretaker's life depends on you burning it. Roots in Ink, the debut novel by Ariella Monti, is the fantasy romance for rebels. Use promo code CK and GK to get 20% off your copy at ariellamonti.com. Again, that's all caps CKANDGK for 20% off on ariellamonti.com. Get your copy for 20% off today. Okay, we're back, and I don't know. We can talk about hyperfixations. We can talk about things we got done, or we don't have to. That's totally up to you. At this point, I don't really have a hyperfixation. You know?
No. Same.
Did you
That's
watch
very
the
true.
new? Did you watch the new Happy Gilmore? You mentioned that you were going to watch that yesterday.
No, we're gonna watch it tonight, though. Yeah, we're gonna watch it tonight. I think that's the plan. But I'm
It's available on
I'm
Netflix,
looking forward
right?
to it.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's available on Netflix. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
don't know either, but I think so. You know what? We just actually got back into as a family. We've talked about this show before on our show, but it's called Somebody Feed Phil. Have you heard of this show?
Maybe.
If you need like wholesome, precious content, but Great British Baking Show is like too far, then this is the show. So like think like Anthony Bourdain, like Parts Unknown meets Great British Baking Show. Like smoosh them together. It's Phil something, I forget his last name, but he is the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
And he travels all over the place. And there's like a little happy song that's very like 1970s sitcom reminiscent, and it's just very sweet. And he like learns all these new things and tells jokes, and it's precious. And Sam really likes it, so I guess that would be the closest thing. But it's so cute. It's a cute show.
That sounds really familiar. We've had on not my hyperfixation, but my child's hyperfixation has been Nailed It, the baking show on Netflix.
Yes. Yes.
That has been playing on television all day, every day. And sometimes I will actually sit down and watch it. And what I appreciate about that show is everybody's just like there to have fun and nobody's taking anything seriously.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it can just be really, really funny to watch and delightful in so many ways. Yeah. But I do need to stop hearing it in my house, like from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's too much.
We had a run of Is It Cake?
Oh, yes.
And I don't mind that show, but I also like don't need to hear Mikey Day ask if it's cake anymore. Like I don't have to. Sorry, the name of Phil's name is Philip Rosenthal. Phil Rosenthal is the guy who does the show. Anyway, it's a cute one. If you haven't watched it before, you should. But that's really all I have. I don't have any. There's nothing new in my life. I didn't get anything done.
I
barely got these notes done. So like, let's be clear.
I started reorganizing the craft room downstairs because it's also like our all-purpose room. It's where I was trying to figure out a new system for where we keep the cat food because my darling dog, I love her with all of my life and heart and soul, but she's a counter surfer and she will try to get the cat's food all the time. And so we've always had to make sure it was high up, and it was fine when we had a baby gate, but now we don't have a baby gate there and all these things. So I finally started moving stuff around so that I think we might have a system, because the other issue here is making sure my oldest cat can climb up.
Get up.
Right, because she's starting to have like arthritis in her legs. So we have to make sure that she's still able to like get up wherever anything is. So I think I figured it out, but of course it's a matter of everything is messy before it's organized. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's just like piles of stuff that I need to like donate and everything, but we don't have a garage, so I don't have any place to put this stuff, so it's just sitting in the room. But I started.
If you figure out a solution, let me know, because Gracie is also a surf. Like she'll go for it if she can. So right now we have their food on the island. I hate having the cats on the kitchen island. It drives me insane because I don't like stuff on the island. And not only is stuff on the island, they are too. And I can't stand it. So if you figure out a solution, let me know. Anyway, I think that's all we have, guys. Aren't you glad you stuck around for this conversation? All right. Make good choices, as Jenny would say. You're not a bad parent. Your kid's not a bad kid. They won't be a serial killer. Like 99.7% sure. No promises. It's all good. Okay. Love you, mean it. And bye.
Bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.